I love talking about our guitars and our company, but quite honestly, I'm a bit of an introvert. You know, give me a tuned guitar and a book and a cup of coffee, and I'm in heaven.
Well, let me introduce you. See, we have to have that for the video, but we're just thrilled to be able to. Tim and I both are here, and we have a privilege to be able to talk to John Marr, and he is the founder, actually a co-founder, right? And then also
Correct.
the president, or do you call yourself the CEO? I don't know, of MacKenzie and Marr Guitars.
I'm basically it. So you can give me
You're
whatever
it, huh?
whatever title you want to give me today.
All
I
right.
think in the book, I think corporately I'm the president, but
Yeah, okay. That's great. Well, we're really privileged to be able to talk to you. I mean, thank you for agreeing to do this. I had a number of questions and we had stories to tell about your wonderful guitars. And it's easy to be a fan of these guitars. I can't imagine anybody getting one and not being happy with it. So I guess we wanted to start out because we wanted to share something with you about
sure.
how we first, or actually Tim was the first one that came across one of your guitars, and I wanted you to hear how it happened because it was kind of
Sure, go ahead.
unusual.
That's always interesting to me to hear how people found us because we're not exactly front and center in the guitar business.
Yeah. Well, I first of all, it's a huge privilege to get to see you and talk to you. I'm like fanboying over here big time because I'm a huge fan of MacKenzie Marr. And the way this started was I was on YouTube and what they call, I guess, doom scrolling through some reels about maybe 2 years ago. And a little clip popped up and it says, small guitar company blows away $5,000 Martin. And so I just went past it and I thought, "Oh, I want to watch that." And it was this clip from Dragon's Den. I think I'm saying that right, Dragon's Den.
Yes, yes,
And
absolutely.
so when I saw Kevin O'Leary, the clip was, Kevin O'Leary playing and whatever, and I went, "Oh, that can't be right. Somebody's just selective editing." So I went to the full video and watched it, and I was so impressed that I thought, I'm going to go to the website because Kevin O'Leary is a tremendous guitar player.
He's
And
good.
I know he's got quite the collection of high-end guitars. So he has the ear for what quality was. And for those that haven't seen the video, you need to find it. Maybe we can link that original
I can
video.
put it in this. Yeah.
When you blindfolded him, he was convinced that the MacKenzie Marr was the $5,000
And
Martin.
that was the Tofino, right?
That was the prototype for Tofino, correct?
Yes.
Was that your first guitar?
Yes, it was. First usable sample, not just first guitar. I had to when we got the news we were going to be on Dragon's Den, I had like a week and the guitar was in a little town north of Boston, and I live in Montreal. My wife and I had to do an overnight drive to get the sample, get it back into Montreal, get it up to Ottawa to get my partner Jonathan's approval, and then get back to Montreal and get some sleep. So that was the first guitar.
Oh,
That's awesome. Well, I noticed you didn't clip the strings at the headstock, so that's why it looked like a prototype. It looked like it came right off the assembly line.
Not very far from that,
that
That's amazing.
that's actually that's even more amazing than the story just on YouTube. He was utterly convinced. And for those that are watching this video, most are acoustic guitar fans, so you can't trick somebody. Not that has a trained ear to quality instruments.
Oh no,
You can't trick them.
it's amazing.
And the feel, you can't fake feel, you can't fake the sound. And he was convinced that when he played the MacKenzie Marr, he was playing the Martin. So I went to your website and I saw the price on it, and I, with inflation, the prices went up just a little bit. I think it was like $12.99 or something, if I remember correct. That was with the pickup and all that. And I thought, man, they've got a 7-day guarantee. Like, worst case scenario, I'll get a beautiful guitar that sounds decent for $1,200. So I went ahead and did it. Well, I was on a trip from America to Peru, and so mid-flight I get a notification from UPS that they're shipping it to my house, and I'll get it while I'm gone. Well, I hadn't yet explained to my wife I had bought the guitar, so I didn't want her to be surprised by walking up to a box. So I took advantage of that to tell Cindy, hey, I'm going to have that guitar sent to your house. Why don't you do a reveal for your channel and I'll pick it up when I get home. And, you know, one of my greatest fears is when I die, my wife sells all my guitars for what I told her I paid for them. So,
And you have to know my channel is only like 6 months old at
yeah,
the time.
it's very fresh.
Because your guitars made an impact on my channel. But go ahead.
So I rerouted it, and I didn't have a lot of cell phone signal between Bolivia and Peru where I was. And we were kind of messaging a little bit. She said, I think she told me in the text, it's beautiful. And then before I boarded my last flight out of Bolivia, she gave me the link to the YouTube video. So I downloaded it real fast before I got on the plane, and I watched her first video on the plane. I had never even seen the guitar, still hadn't held it. And watching her face react to hearing this Ian Tyson was almost as good as listening to the guitar, because her reaction. And then after I watched the video, you know, she's texting me, I can't believe it's at this price. I cannot believe, you know, the quality, it's flawless. It's perfect. The setup is perfect. She had to do nothing to it. So that kind of started us. And this is it right here. This is the Ian Tyson.
Ian Tyson Inspiration, yes.
And look how gorgeous that. I mean, it's absolutely breathtaking.
Is that would that be one of the first, like you made 250 to start with, if I remember right, reading it right, or you had when you first started making the Ian Tyson?
That was a different Ian Tyson. That was a guitar that we called the Ian Tyson Limited Edition. I forget. It was the first Ian Tyson guitar we made in 2010. And we did limit it to 250. The one that Tim has, we call the Ian Tyson Inspiration. And that was our second Ian Tyson guitar. And just quickly, I don't know if you know Ian Tyson. Cindy, I think that you've probably got sort of a handle on some of his, maybe Ian and Sylvia songs. But Ian is known as or was known, because unfortunately we've lost him, but Ian was known as a crusty guy. That's the kind way of saying Ian could be a little bit difficult at times. And when I spoke to him regarding this guitar, I said, Ian, you have a Jim Olsen guitar with a Florentine cutaway. And I said, it's really beautiful. And I want to use that as the sort of the prototype for this Ian Tyson guitar, which is why we called it the Inspiration, because it's an inspiration to Jim Olsen's work. It's an inspiration to Ian's history of playing. So he said to me, John, he said, there isn't a chance on earth you're going to duplicate that kind of sound, that kind of quality for the prices that you need. So we left it at that. When the first samples came in and finally had our approval, I sent one to Ian out in Alberta. And I got a phone call one afternoon, and Ian had a very gravelly voice. He'd had some larynx problems. And so I picked up the phone, and this voice said, I hate eating humble pie.
That's great.
And unfortunately, that was one of my last conversations with Ian. He was. I tell people stories about how Ian treated MacKenzie Marr Guitars, and they look at me and they say, "You're making that all up. That is not Ian Tyson." But he was so good to us. I cannot tell you how
so
grateful
neat.
I am for Ian's support.
You know, talking about the cutaway on that, that is a hard thing to make, a Florentine. It's not a simple, just cut it out, whatever. In fact, isn't the piece that's in the curve the piece that was on the cut out from the?
Yes, correct. That's exactly how it's
Yeah, see this? This is very difficult to do. So,
And if you see some Florentine cutaways, they just don't look right.
yeah,
Like,
they're
and
rounded.
that's where they didn't do that. They took a separate piece and put it in, and it just doesn't match. But when you do cut that properly, reverse it and put it back in,
It's amazing.
that's to me what gives the Florentine cutaway the correct look.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I'll tell you a story about the guys in the workshop making that guitar. When we started out back in I guess 2007, 2008, and we'd ask them to do something different, they were terrified. They said, they'd gotten Tofino down. It was okay. They were comfortable with it. And then I said, well, what about making it? Oh, geez, I don't know. We can't, we'll try. And they were just petrified of making mistakes. And 10 years, when did we do well, maybe 12 years later, when I asked them to do the Florentine cutaway, they went, "Oh yeah, we're gonna you just wait till you see what we do with this." They put two people on a testing or a whatever training for a week, doing nothing but cutting and regluing, cutting and regluing. Now, they weren't using Bolivian rosewood, but they were so eager to do a new guitar and exceed anything they'd done. And the difference in attitude from the first time we worked with them until then was just staggering. They just loved the challenge. And
They do that by hand, everything by hand when they did that?
well,
Yeah,
yes and no.
eventually it probably is not, right? But those first,
Oh, we've got laser cutting now as opposed to using a bandsaw and feeding it through. So we can get the cutting with no chips, no a saw will leave chips. We can cut it accurately. We can cut it absolutely perfectly vertical. So the hand-eye stuff is not quite so important, but still fitting it and knowing what you're doing, that's a skill that hasn't changed.
yeah.
Well, it seems to me that with the quality of the instrument, I think two things need to be said. One is you can have a great craftsman, but if you don't use the quality of materials, it's not going to work. And the invert can be said. If you have great materials and not a quality craftsman, it's not going to really work. What's amazing about MacKenzie Marr is that these are, I don't want to overspeak and say something that's not true, but at least the sound and the appearance is of master grade woods and world-class luthiers that have come together. It's shocking to me that I did not have to pay at least $4,000 for this guitar.
Especially when you look at a guitar like this one that has wood binding. This
Yeah.
is the maple. I think it's maple, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I can't do anything but apologize, Tim. I didn't realize that you wanted to send us more money for the guitar. I feel terrible knowing that we saved you money that you didn't think you had to save.
I have some higher end names. I have a Martin D35. I have a Boucher, and it does not take a backseat to anything. It will cut through any sound. It will hold its own.
Yeah.
It's not like a T-ball player trying to hang with the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
It's a Joe DiMaggio itself.
But isn't that true for the baby boat?
It's
I mean, this thing
unbelievable.
cuts through so well that you can play jumbo next to it, and you can still.
We have a video of it.
Yeah, you can still hear it. It's unbelievable what this guitar can do. It's amazing.
Thank you so much for saying that. I want to, just clarify one thing. I'm happy to hear you talking about how wonderful the guitars are, and we can spend, I can just shut up and listen to you because it just thrills me. But I personally don't do that, and I don't want to do that. If I become like, oh, you got to try our guitars, they're the greatest thing in the world. If I start overselling the instrument, I'm doing the sort of the Willy Loman salesman thing, which I don't want to do. Building these guitars, making them look and sound the way they do is salesmanship enough.
Yes.
And once they're in people's hands,
They speak for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some things don't need a
Yeah.
sales pitch. A glass
Yeah.
of water in the desert, fire in the Arctic doesn't need a sales pitch. Neither does MacKenzie Marr. It speaks for itself. And if you are even an intermediate player, somewhat serious or professional, for what it's worth, if MacKenzie Marr is not in your collection, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to have another
Oh my
bright
goodness.
spot in your collection.
Unbelievable.
And at the price point, it's amazing.
And I have a lot of seniors that watch the videos too, and I have this term I use is called senior friendly. And so when I go
Okay.
around to different guitar stores, if I find one that's senior friendly, I mark it. But this is definitely, I mean, it's not just for seniors, but it's senior friendly, meaning that the size of it, the comfort of the neck,
Yeah.
the width of the nut, everything is, it's like you were thinking of people as we get older as musicians, comfort is everything.
And yet he thought about me too.
Yeah. As you get younger.
no, I was just saying, Tim, you're on the younger side of our customer demographics.
Well,
I mean, I don't know how old you are, but looking at you, you don't have snowy white hair like
that's why I keep
some
it
of us.
short.
Right here.
I keep it short because if it grows out,
That gives you away.
there's snow getting on the roof right now.
Snow getting
But
on the roof.
this is called a Venetian.
volute?
A volute. The volute.
Yeah, the volutes. Yeah.
What the thing people need to realize is no detail was spared in the making of these. This is a high quality instrument that compares to the big brands
Yeah.
at their
it's so
custom
easy
levels to the boutique shops. I've never put this in the hands of a guitar player who did not have Cindy's reaction.
Yeah.
That they couldn't believe the quality, the price, and that they had never played one.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's almost a shame that they haven't been able to, and
Well, you
we're
know,
trying to remedy
the
that.
other thing I noticed was you find very few used anywhere, and that speaks for it as
Yes.
well. I found one when I was in Nebraska at a store called the Merry-Go-Round. I walked in and sitting up there used, I couldn't even believe it was a Tofino. And so I had a chance to play it. I was blown away by that cedar top. I mean, it was so beautiful, and it had a mahogany back that was gorgeous. And so I wondered how old it was. I wasn't really sure. I was going to buy it. The guy wouldn't sell it to me because in Nebraska, they keep the guitars in the store for a month so that only the locals can buy them first.
Really?
Yes. And so then what happens is after that, if nobody buys it, they'll sell it to somebody coming from the outside like myself. So, but anyways, that is an amazing guitar. It's an OM, I think, right? It's an OM size orchestra model. It had a 25 scale, 25.5. Oh my goodness, unbelievable guitar. Unbelievable. I can see why when you were on that show that they picked that up and felt the way they did. I'm sure it played the same. It was set up nice. And that brings another question about the setup. I know that most of the time guitars come out of the companies a little bit high in the action so you can adjust your own. People
Yes.
don't understand that. They think it should come, perfectly low, and otherwise it's no good. And they don't realize that you have to get your set up to your preference. But I noticed for this one here when I got it, it was set up, and this
That's
one,
perfect.
they were set up perfectly. So that surprised me. It really did that you had them set up. Do you set them up in the United States or in Canada when you get them, or somebody go over them?
No, we set them up in
Uh-oh.
Montreal. Every guitar gets gets a full QC checkup and a full setup in Montreal. The factory sends them to us slightly high, as most factories do.
Yeah.
And for a while, we were going along with that. And one of the biggest requests we continue to get was low action and no buzzing. Well, I tell that to our luthier, and they start laughing because everybody wants low action and no buzzing. But what's low action? Keith Richards, flailing away there. Low action to him is going to be way too high for somebody else. But we decided let's start taking the action down as low as we can get it. Let's see the feedback. And it was universally positive. So that's been our go-to setup since, well, I guess for the last maybe 10 years. Now, what does happen is that some people get the guitars, take them out of the case, and depending on the season or the climate, they will get some buzzing because we've set them up quite low. But even if they get a little bit of buzzing, we can tell them how to fix that in 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
We have yet to have anybody not follow those. You get a guitar and you say, okay, it's buzzing. Our first question is, where is it buzzing? Well, it's on the first few frets. Okay, perfect. Spread the strings apart, put the Allen key into the little nut for the truss rod and give it a tiny, tiny little counterclockwise turn and no buzzing. And they go, you're right.
Yeah.
That solved it.
And another thing I don't think people do too is I need to reiterate this for the video. These are all solid guitars. These are all solid wood. So when
Yes.
you get a guitar in from a different climate, it needs to set for a couple of days and acclimate to the climate of the region you're in. I've noticed sometimes people do that. Then they're asked, well, did you let it set? Oh, no, I pulled it out of the case and played it immediately. Well, if it went from 2 different weather extremes or the humidity levels, any solid wood guitar is going to move. And so I think there's some of that people need to remember. If you're getting the guitar from California and you live in Denver or vice versa, you probably need to let it set 24 or 48 hours, as tempting as it is to play it, and let the wood acclimate to that.
Is it hard for you to get these tone woods? I mean, do you run into problems getting them in getting the wood and even getting into the United States or into Canada? Do they give you a hard time with all the things that they, the whatever the regulations are?
Well, I think the job of U.S. Customs is to give any importer a hard time. They're doing a damn good job of that.
Yeah, that's the U.S.
Getting the right tone woods is hard. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it. It's not something you just walk down to the local corner store and buy a couple of, backs and sides and slap them together. But hard is good, because if it wasn't hard, everybody else would be doing it. And that's the hard is part of the challenge. I'll tell you the wood that we use in our 12 string and in Tim and your I think all of the guitars you folks own it's the Bolivian rosewood. Yeah. Now that came about because CITES, the organization that determines what plant and animals or plants are in danger, put an embargo on Indian rosewood, and you could not get Indian rosewood. Now, it was a legitimate embargo because some factories were turning out furniture with Indian rosewood and using a huge amount of it. Guitars use such a tiny amount, there was no reason to have guitars in there, and eventually it was taken off. But that embargo prompted us to look for an alternative. And coincidentally, I had talked to a fellow who owned a Bolivian woodlot, and he was complaining about not having enough customers who would accept the huge variation from one to the next. And I said, hey, that's exactly what I want. Every guitar is going to be, you just found your ideal customer, and I hope I found my ideal supplier. So we started using his Bolivian rosewood in place of the Indian rosewood. And when the embargo came off Indian rosewood, we saw no reason to suddenly jump back into it. We love what we're doing now. So, that was a problem that turned out to be the solution turned out to be a great one. We're very happy with it.
This Bolivian rosewood is such a bright and yet deep sound at the same time.
Isn't it in the family of Pau-Ferro, which is like a Brazilian? Yep. So it's in the family of.
It's in the Latin Delbergus or whatever, sorry, my Latin is a little
It,
rusty ever since Caesar stopped calling. But it's not a legitimate in the Rosewood family, but it's close.
now, are there any new guitars in the making? Do you have some ideas for a new line or uh, anything new coming up?
Well, yes, I'm not going to tell you very much about it.
Oh, it's a secret.
Well, we, yeah, it is a secret. I'm not going to tell you about
Don't
it.
do that. Don't do that. No, it's okay.
No, but I will whet your appetite a little bit. We have another musician who has endorsed our guitars, and I'm not going to name Mr. Rush. I mean, I'm not going to name him by name. Um,
That's great.
and we wanted to do something unique, and I was completely, I mean, I could find the guitar. I knew exactly what guitar. There was no disagreement about it, but we wanted it to have a little bit of personalization. And we've hit on the idea, and it's something nobody's done. It's nothing that's going to change the guitar in any way, shape, or form. It's just a fun little thing we're putting on there that makes it
Neat.
his guitar.
Yeah,
So
that's neat. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll be watching for that. That's for sure.
Well, as if you're not busy enough, if you just need something else to throw out there, I'm kind of a bigger guy and I love dreads and jumbos. So if you're looking at doing a jumbo line, I've got 3 number 1 non-bestsellers, and I am more than welcome I'm more than happy to help you with it. No, I would love one day to see a jumbo in the MacKenzie Marr line, because the craftsmanship is so impeccable on this, and the tonewood choices. Everyone I play, from the baby boat, I'm about 6'3", so I don't play smaller guitars. That is one of my top 5 favorite guitars that I've played, of course, with Ian. And it's a small guitar. I love the sound. It doesn't sound like a baby boat. It sounds like a giant.
It's not a baby.
No.
No, definitely.
yeah.
Now you could do a mandolin. That would be something.
We could, and it's always on my mind. There was a fellow named Dave Nichols. I don't know if the name means anything to you. Dave was a heck of a mandolin player. He lived in upper state New York. He did a lot of the pearl work on some of Martin's very exclusive pearl guitars.
Yeah.
He did pearl work for a lot of the guitars that the ZZ Top guys are playing. Unfortunately, he passed away, and but why did I mention him?
We started with the mandolin.
Oh yes, and he kept.
Oh, you're starting to sound like me there. Okay.
Where am I today? I'd go down and see him in Malone, New York, and he'd either have a problem in that he was a big fan of single malt Scotch, and he was a little bit concerned one time when I was there that somehow the Scotch had turned, and he asked me if I wouldn't mind tasting it, and he's going to taste it too, and at that I better taste it. So at 11 o'clock in the morning, we had to make sure that Dave's Scotch hadn't turned. But then he decided he was going to give me a mandolin lesson, and he was a heck of a bluegrass player and a heck of a raconteur. If you ever want to hear songs about or stories about the CIA and Martin guitars, he was the guy to ask. Whether anything was true or not, I have no idea.
That's neat. Well, so the other guitar that I was thinking of was a baritone. I recently acquired one and have had so much fun with it. And I know you really don't need to do anything. You've got a great line already, but that was another one that I thought, oh my goodness, that would be something. So
our problem with something like a baritone, Cindy, is that we really have a very limited production, and we've got to be very careful about what we make because we can expand that production slowly, but we can't suddenly, double the size and maintain the quality of it. So it's sort of an incremental
Yeah.
increase. And if we add a guitar, it's got to have enough sales volume for us, which is still tiny, but in our circle, it's got to have enough sales volume to, justify adding it. And I think a baritone is a few years down the road before we're going to be ready to do that.
I love your new website, by the way. I have to say
Yes.
that it came out
Fantastic.
so well. It's
Thank you.
and I love the fact that you put all the specs on there. I mean, that everything's there because you don't see that a lot. So you can go and look and get a sense of what it feels like, in terms of the size of the guitar and the neck and everything. It's awesome. So well done.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to hear that. It was a long time in coming, and when you're a very small company, making a major change like a complete website redo it's a whole it's a whole lot of work, and it shouldn't be. It should be like bang done.
But you have also, I noticed you just recently put out, I don't know if it was recent, I just recently found a tuner for the 12 string.
Yeah,
That was pretty awesome.
it's a page on the website, and I wish I could take credit for it, but there's a guy who works for us and everybody else. He goes by the name AI.
AI.
And when you're nice to AI and you ask them the right questions, or her, I'm not sure the gender, that tuner, I tried it 4 or 5 times, total failure. Just, this is a waste of time. Then I tried it one more time with it, and bang, just like that.
Actually, it would look really good if you had an app, MacKenzie Marr app, and have a tuner on there. Awesome. I could kind of see it going that way as I was looking at it. So,
Cindy, you may have been looking at our. I'm gonna. Can you see the playbook from here? I don't know. Tim, can I ask you a question? It's.
Yes, sir.
You said you own a Boucher guitar. How do you like it?
Oh, I love it's a great guitar.
Now we make some guitars. Our Riverboat series, the baby boat you've got there, is it's made with Adirondack spruce. The Adirondack spruce that we use is harvested and milled by the folks at Boucher Guitars.
oh, that's neat.
It doesn't surprise me because it's hard to convey to people who not owned or played a MacKenzie Marr
Yeah.
that's the level quality that's coming out of these guitars. So I mean, it doesn't surprise. That's amazing. That's absolutely.
I actually owned a Studio Goose from Boucher, and I didn't keep it. I had traded a Martin guitar for it. This was a while back, and it was a beautiful instrument, pretty much the size of this one. It was small body size, a little bit wider on the depth of it. But the reason why I didn't keep it is the reason why I keep this one is the strings on it, the tension. I didn't like the tension on the string. My fingers couldn't dance on it. I can't explain it, but there's a feel. And it was a 12 fret. This is 14, so that may be the reason why.
Was it a shorter scale? The strings would have been
I
too loose?
think it was a 25/5 scale with just a 12 fret, like your other small
Yeah.
body that you have.
Hmm.
So I'd have to go back and look. And it is a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I'm not downplaying, the Boucher guitars.
Yeah.
They're wonderful instruments. That
They
particular
get better all the time too.
yeah, they're just a beautiful. But this keeps up with it, and it's nowhere near the price.
I
It's
can tell you
unbelievable.
that with my Boucher, it's the first one I ever owned, and it's their private stock. It's the jumbo with the maple. Of course, they're going to sound different because they're 2 different materials, but there is not a drop in quality between a Boucher private stock jumbo and this Ian Tyson. This MacKenzie Marr is as flawless as any Boucher coming off the line. And
Thank you.
the sound quality is just as brilliant. There's no drop off. I mean, even the tuners, the Grover tuners, you guys spared no detail in this.
Yeah, it's
and I keep
unbelievable.
going back to this, but if you have not owned one or played one, it's kind of, you're trying to smell the color 9, right? It's your brain's having a hard time processing this. But once you put one in your hands and you wrap around it, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
MacKenzie
no, I
has made it available that you don't have to spend $5,000+ to get that quality or that sound of a guitar.
And it's true for the 12 string as well, because I have the 12 string. I broke a string on it last night messing with it. Here it is right here. But last night so it doesn't have the octave string on the low E. I didn't take the time to put it back on. I was being lazy. But
It's not like we had a show to do today.
the specs on this are close to the Ian Tyson, right? In terms
yes,
of
it's the
size.
same body. It's the
Same
Alberta
body.
jumbo body with
Yeah.
without the cutaway.
So it has that boomy sound, same boomy sound. Because I have a beautiful 12 string Taylor as well, but that tends to be more chimey. I like the bass on that, the way it just grumbles. It's wonderful. But I like the sound of this. It's got a dry, I like the pick, and I can get that dry sound that I love to hear on a small body. So,
And you know, Mr. John, we actually played. There's a video of me playing my jumbo Boucher with this baby boat.
Oh,
And
I apologize. I haven't seen it.
completely cut through that
yeah,
jumbo
it's unbelievable.
and was incredibly distinguishable from a private stock Boucher, which is very hard to comprehend. That doesn't, I think, speak less to the Boucher at all. I think it speaks more volume to the baby boat.
I've got to make a trip up the St. Lawrence to see Norman Boucher, so I don't think I'll mention that to him.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Don't say anything.
No,
Just
no,
show the
no,
video.
don't know.
He's
Don't know how
actually
that-
a wonderful man. I actually talked to him on the phone one time and
Yeah.
enjoyed talking to him. He's a wonderful person. Beautiful instruments. So but the good thing is that you can buy a MacKenzie Marr and come out just as happy for less of the price. So,
About 2 or 3 of them.
yeah, about 2 or 3 of them. It's amazing that any of your guitars stay under 1,400, 1,200. You've got some that are under 1,000. Unbelievable.
Well, I think we're going to have to raise the prices significantly. Or
It's just wonderful. Well, you know what? I think we're kind of running out of time here. Is there anything you wanted to share before we go that you were thinking of that we didn't touch on, or?
There is, and it's not related to the guitars. It's related to the personal connection that those guitars or our guitars have with our customers. You know, you said at the start of it, you know, it's a real honor to be talking to me. And Cindy, it's not. I'm a servant. I'm the guy who in the shoe store reaches down, puts the shoe on your foot and ties it up. My job is to make you happy. And it's not, wow, I'm talking to John Marr. It's John Marr. Wow, I'm talking to people who know guitars and love our guitars. And that's a reward. You hear all the time, well, our customer satisfaction is the reward. But quite honestly, I'm never going to become a millionaire with this business. But I am going to try in my best to make a whole lot of people happy. And that in itself really is. That's the goal. So thank you
Thank you. And I don't know if you had anything else that you were thinking of before we go, or?
No, I want to reiterate to people, these are not mass produced. These are not, there is quality craftsmanship. And I don't even know if we mentioned it or if he's talked about the Luthiers there that actually make this, that they are very skilled. These are not the first guitars they've ever made. They know how to work with hardwoods, or excuse me, tonewoods, and know how to craft an instrument. That this is not just running down an assembly line with a bunch of robots. They're actual
Yeah.
luthiers that are building these just on a different continent, but you're getting the same quality as you're going to get from Boucher or Santa Cruz or, fill in the blank, because they know what they're doing. They are master craftsmen
Yeah.
that are working on this. Can you take a second to speak to the luthier and that does the work there?
Um, well, I'll tell you the story of how we came to be associated with this workshop. In 2006 or 2007, I was having dinner at uh, my friend's house, Jonathan MacKenzie, who unfortunately passed away this year, but until then was a business partner in the business. And he and I were just talking about guitars, and he at one point said, "Have you played any Chinese guitars?" And I said, "Oh, you know, they're awful." He went, "No." He said, "You go play some of the solid wood guitars that are coming out of China. You're going to be shocked." And like that, this business just came into my head because I know importing. I know how countries go from, barely able to make a product to dominating the market. I've seen it with Taiwan. I've seen it with Japan. I've seen it with Korea. And then he's telling me it's happening in guitars in China. And I thought, that's the business. Direct import, high-end guitars. And as an aside, if I had known how hard that was going to be, I figured, oh, buy some guitars, sell them. Buy some guitars, sell them. it's There's a trick to making a good
I
guitar.
bet.
They don't tell you. It's called hard work. Anyway, I found a workshop and they were skilled. Small workshop. I think there were 26 people at the time, but they had no idea what to make. They didn't know marketing. They didn't know the North American market. You know, their competitors were flooding the Chinese market with every level of quality. And these guys we just want to make stringed instruments. We don't know anything about it. So I made an arrangement with them. I said, I am never, ever going to give you the kind of volume that you would get with, Fender or Gibson or anything like that. But I am never going to ask you to speed up your process or cut corners. And they said, perfect, because if we had to speed up the process, we'd be out of work. They'd put in CNC machines and, we'd be gone. But, so it turned out to be a wonderful partnership. They made great guitars. They listened to our suggestions, immediately put them in place. And, we kind of used the Toyota method, incremental changes. Every time you do a production run, just make a tiny little change somewhere to make it a little bit better. And yeah, it's been wonderful. It's the. Do you have time? I'll tell you a couple more stories, and you can either
Oh
edit them
yeah,
out.
no, go ahead. I was
Okay.
just being cognizant of your
Oh,
time. So
no, no. I love this workshop. We were in southern China. We were in the Guangzhou area, and the biggest impediment to being there is the climate. You have to take extraordinary measures to put the guitars in a humidified, temperature controlled room every single night at any stage in the production, because that's a very moist climate, very warm climate. You bring it to, say, Montreal, and if it hasn't been treated properly, bang, you've got a cracked guitar in a week. So we were doing it, we were comfortable with it, but we decided as the generation was changing, there was a lot of the older people finally reached retirement age, and retiring in itself was an accomplishment. A lot of them thought, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to, get to be 65. I have to leave, but I have no money. What am I going to do? And, despite the fact that it's, the Communist Party of China, the social net for older people in China is really not there. If you don't have a horde of children to look after you, you're in trouble. So it was a real accomplishment to have workers who said, I can actually retire. I actually have enough money in the bank that I can retire. So as they were retiring, sorry, I'm getting long one. As they were retiring and a new generation was taking over, I said to some of the younger people, if we moved all the way up to northern China, would you come with us? And because these people come from villages, all over the place, they have no emotional attachment to Guangzhou. And they said, sure, we'd move. So we moved, and it wasn't, for us, it was a huge thing, but, we're moving, I think, 30 people. We moved to northern China and set up a new association up there. And the climate is the same as it is in Canada. And that really made a big difference in the quality of the guitars and the longevity of the guitars. I wish we'd done it sooner, but
What year was that?
that was 2015, 2016.
So you've
But
been doing it 10 years there.
yeah, but prior to that, people would say, "Oh, slave labor, you're taking advantage of it," and I got so fed up hearing that I got in touch with the workshop and I said, "I am going to come and work for you for a week." And they went, "What?" So I went and. I have my punch card. I can show you the hours that I put in. I worked from Monday morning until Friday afternoon, and my job was putting kerfing strips in the guitars. And it was horrible work because we were using these the black and silver metal paper clips, the larger
slow
paper
clip.
clips.
Yeah.
Well, and I was working across from a woman. She'd do 4 guitars in the time I do. And I got to the point where, you think that you build up calluses playing guitar. Try putting those things in. Anyway, that was her job. It was the basic, almost entry level work in the factory. And yet, as I understood it, she had put 3 or 4 sons through university in Shanghai by putting kerfing strips in our guitars. And that's a testament to
Yes, it is.
that's what working should be. When whether you're in a car factory bolting alternators on, or you're doing high-tech assembly, the work you're doing should give you and your family a living.
Yes.
So when I finished my week in the factory, I said to the fellow who was my sort of escort guy, I said, "I want to get a haircut." He said, "Why do you want a haircut?" I want to go get a haircut. So I got the worst haircut of my life, but I've also had the best haircut of my life in China, but this particular barber didn't understand English or Western hair at all. Anyway, the reason for going to get the haircut was to pay for it. And I paid, I think it was in Canadian dollars, I think I paid $1 for the haircut. And the reason I did that is that I knew that in 1960 something, I worked in a footwear warehouse, and my pay was $1 an hour and a haircut was $1. I can remember that so clearly, that my pay per hour was the same as a haircut. And that's exactly what the pay in that factory at that time was. So if I got paid $1 an hour for the work I did in that factory, my cost of living was essentially covered by that dollar, because it was the same as it was in North America back in the 60s. Now, since then, we've had, I don't want to look at the number of wage increases we've had, because cost of living's gone up, wages have gone up. One of the problems that we face is that other factories love to steal our workers. They'll sit outside the factory gates and go, "Hey, come here, we want to talk to you." So we've got to make sure that those workers are not tempted to, run down the street, which means we have to pay them what they're worth. It's kind of a real weird concept, paying people what they're worth to do good work.
What a novel idea.
And you
might catch on.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You definitely do. And it shows. If I've looked inside these guitars, I like to look inside, and they're beautiful. They do beautiful work. There's not glue slopped everywhere.
I was just going to say that. You don't see glue patches.
It really, you can tell they take pride in what they do. is beautiful.
It's just as beautiful inside as it is outside. Everything they know what they're doing.
Well, put yourself, well, you have been there, but here's a typical MacKenzie and Marr customer receiving their guitar. They get the carton, and I'll tell you right now, the cartons just get beat up. The cardboard available to us is awful, but that doesn't affect the quality of the guitar. You open the carton, the first thing you see is the case. Now, we could use a lesser case, but you're skeptical. Like, I bought this guitar online. Did I get taken? So we want your first impression to be, wow, I didn't expect a case that's quite this good. Then when you open it up and look at it before you play it, Grover tuners. I didn't expect, ooh, that's kind of neat. You look inside the guitar, it's clean. Like, okay, this is real, so we want every incremental inspection as you take on your new purchase. We want every incremental inspection to increase your comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
If it's cheap tuners or it's a flat, okay, well, I guess this is what I get for this price. And then, we want every change in attitude to be a positive one. Like, I really did well. And that's fun. Seeing that kind of reaction from people is a real joy.
It's
the case really. We don't talk about that, but the case is
beautiful.
It's first class. It's a really, really
and what's in
nice
the case is neat too. I was surprised to see the protector. What do you call it? See, now my brain's gone.
That's okay.
Pick guard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're called protectors. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Thumb protector.
I noticed you were wearing a Fred Kelly speed pick. Isn't that what on your thumb? Is that?
Oh no! It's a Golden Gate.
Golden Gate. I never heard of that before. Huh?
Well, I hadn't either, and a fellow named Chris Smither mentioned them. I don't know if you're familiar with Chris Smither, but he's an astounding performer and an astounding guitarist. Anyway, I went searching for Golden Gate picks and couldn't find it. Finally found them, bought it, and a thumb pick's a thumb pick. They're not,
that's not true.
You're not going to become, you're not going to become, Doc Watson in 3 minutes with a different pick, but. This one I don't particularly care for. There's something wrong with it. But the first one I bought was beautiful. I love it. I use it all the time. So Golden Gate picks. Give them a try.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
It looks like a Fred Kelly. Looks just like one.
I don't know Fred Kelly. Are they good? Should I be searching for them now?
They're awesome picks. And they have different types. Yeah. They're really neat. Yeah.
And
I'm going to be able to play the guitar the way
the minute you put it on your thumb, it'll just take right off.
You have to pull the cord a few times. So prime it a little bit.
That's great. Wow.
I tried skydiving one time. Don't mention pulling the cord.
Oh, that's great. Well, you're alive to tell us, so that's neat. Well, thank you so much for taking this time.
Thank you.
This is awesome. I enjoyed this so much. This is really wonderful. And
you got to do it again.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Well, I hope to meet you in person one day. I'm usually up in Canada about once a year in Montreal. And
are you?
Maybe we can grab a cup of coffee at Tim Hortons, which is like my favorite place in Canada.
If we grab a cup of coffee, I'll try and find a place that's a little more local Montreal than Tim Hortons. There's some great Italian coffee places in Montreal.
Oh, yes. And you guys, now we're getting off track. There was this great Portuguese restaurant there, downtown Montreal, on a little corner. I think it's still there. The best chicken and sausage. It was, anyway, I'm a foodie. I love it.
The Portuguese chicken, the flattened, the spatchcock Portuguese chicken.
Yes.
Oh, it sounds good.
It was a little bitty corner store downtown. And there was a wall, and I remember asking them where the restroom was, and they pointed to the wall, and I thought they were joking with me. But you literally had to push the wall, and the wall spun around, and that was the restroom. But I love Montreal, wonderful, wonderful city. So maybe one of these days we can have a cup of coffee, and would love to meet you in person. We're huge fans of what you guys do.
Well, thank you so much. That's it makes my day. Honestly, it makes my day to talk to you guys.
Yeah, it's been really good. Well, thank you so much, and I'll put this video out, and it's good. I'm really happy with this conversation. I learned so much today, so thank you.
Cindy, down the road, I want to learn a little bit about your history. You're an incredible guitarist. I wish I had more time to listen to your lessons because the ones I've listened to, if I took them as seriously as I should,
Oops,
I'd
we
be a
lost him
hell of a
again.
guitarist today.
We lost you right at the end there. But
I was saying if I took your lessons as seriously as I should, I would be one hell of a better guitarist today.
thank you
When
so
I have
much.
had time to sit down and listen to them,
Thank you so much. I
it
appreciate
worked.
that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get together again, and I'll send you an email with the link to this video once I get it edited.
I'll send you some t-shirts too.
Oh, that'd be
Excellent.
awesome. I'd love that. That's great. Thank you. All right. See you later.
Wonderful to
See
meet
you
you.
later down the road.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.